How you doing, YouTube family? Today is Tuesday, July the 15th, 2025. Is your man Big D, and I'm back with another one. Want to thank all you good folk out there in YouTube land for continuing to rock out with my son and I. We greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Well, family, I'm back with another video, and in my scouring of the internet, I came across this young lady's video, and when I saw the caption of "I had 4 abortions by 3 different men," I knew that I had to listen to it, and I had to bring it and put it in front of the congregation because I believe that when people come on these YouTube streets, whether they've had misfortune or much success in life, I think there's something that we all can glean from that. We can learn something from people's accomplishments, their successes, but we can also learn from people's failures. So I am going to let this young lady tell her story, and we will see if possibly along the way we could take something positive away from this.
Hey, how y'all doing? Just in light of the last video that I posted, I actually wanted to take the time to share my experience and my story with pregnancy and abortion with you all. I hope that you all can be respectful about what I'm getting ready to say, but at the end of the day, everybody has an opinion. You're entitled to it, and you have no heaven or hell to put me in. And so at the end of the day, listen if you will. So when I was 16, I got pregnant for the first time by my manager at Rallies. I was in Hampton High School playing basketball. I was one of 5 children.
So now, my first question: how do you get pregnant at 16? How do you get pregnant by your manager at your place of employment? How does that happen? And my question would be this: what was the age of the manager? I would think that the manager would have had to have been an adult, cause I don't see them, that particular establishment, promoting someone who is a teenager to the position of a manager where where this person will have to supervise people. So it had to be an adult. But I'll say this: whoever promoted this dusty ass manager, they didn't do a good job, because there's nowhere in the world that you can tell me that somebody's 16-year-old daughter gets impregnated by the manager of the place where she works. So that right there is a that's a red flag. If I didn't see one myself. So my next question is, what happened with the manager? Was he fired? Was law enforcement involved? Was an investigation conducted? Because if the manager was an adult and she was a minor, well, that sounds like there was a crime committed. And if she was pregnant, there is the proof that a crime was committed, because I don't know, she was a child. Whoever this other person was had to be an adult. I would hope it was an adult. Being in management, uh, sounds to me there was a crime committed. So that's my question. What happened with the manager, and was law enforcement involved?
I have a single mom raised me with no father. My stepdad was in and out of my life, as he was, in and out cheating on my mom, whatever, what have you. And my dad never really confirmed that DNA wise. All right. So, first time I got pregnant, I got.
So we learned a little bit about her mother. It sounds to me like she is just a younger version of her mother. She's following her mother's footsteps, following right in her mother's footsteps. And my thing is this: yeah, it's easy to say that, the daddy wasn't around or the daddy wasn't there, but when is some of the onus going to be placed on the woman. Because I will always say this, ladies, if you are dealing with a dude and you know that he don't have his shit together, he don't have his life together, why would you allow him to get you pregnant? Why would you even get pregnant? That would be my first question. Now, I'm not saying that whoever this alleged father is, that he is off the hook. But I will tell you this, the fact that he didn't take a DNA test, that don't mean nothing. Because if he ever missed a court date, if he ever missed a court date for family court, for child support, if he ever missed a court date, the fact that if there were any court dates, I don't know if her mother took him through the you know the court system to ask for child support. I don't know if that happened, but if it did, and he didn't show up to court to say I want a DNA test, well, they're gonna go ahead and say he the daddy. They're gonna go ahead and say he the daddy, whether he took a DNA test or not, and they are going to um start. They're gonna start asking for child support, whether they done prove him to be the daddy by a DNA test or not. That's facts.
Had an abortion. My OBGYN actually told me how I could petition the courts as a minor to have an abortion, right? Because my mom actually was trying to make me have the child. I grew up in a Christian household. We didn't believe in, well, they didn't believe in it because I believed in righting my wrongs. And, I don't believe that I should have to, pay for a mistake for the rest of my life. The second time I got pregnant, I was pregnant by an ex-boyfriend who was 10 years older than me. I had met him when I was 13. He was literally 23 years old. So I got pregnant around about like 17 years old. I was getting ready to go to college at Virginia State University. And it was an abusive relationship. I was mentally, physically abused. He pulled my hair out of my hair, slapped me in my face. I had got this guy's name tattooed on me twice.
Okay, so why did you stay with him? Why did you get with him? Okay, I understand maybe in the beginning, he wore his camouflage and he put on, good face and he wasn't, being abusive. But once he started being abusive, why did you stay? Why did you stay? And for the life of me, I don't know why you would allow this person to get you pregnant. Clearly, he was a loser. Clearly, he was a dusty. Why would you allow a dusty to get you pregnant? Now, you done already been pregnant once by the manager, and you had an abortion, and then now you dealing with another appear to be a dusty character, and now you pregnant with baby number 2 and talking about having an abortion.
Covered it up twice. But that was a relationship that I should have never even had been in. So when we talk about the mental trauma of going through an abortion now 2 times, fast forward to 21 years old. I'm getting ready to graduate college, walk across the stage with my degree. I got pregnant by a guy named Jordan. Literally lied to me, told me that, he didn't think he could have children and he didn't, ejaculate inside of me, and the entire time was just lying, right?
Okay, ma'am, hold on. So you trying to tell me that you are getting a degree and you getting all this education, but you let some another dusty ass dude bamboozle you into believing that he can't he can't make babies. That for what his sperm count was what low or he didn't have any sperm. I mean, ma'am, come on. Did he show you proof of this or did he just tell you this? But I know you're gonna try to switch it around on him and say that he put a trap baby on you. Come on, ma'am. I listen. I get in her own way. She is trying to tell her story, and she, in her own way, is trying to perhaps give some type of education to a young lady or the ladies that may be may find themselves in a similar position. I get that. But it sounds to me that there's a lot of accountability dodging. So I know early on you said that you was raised in a Christian house and your mom didn't believe in abortion and whatnot, but that's not how you felt. And as far as you concerned, why should you have to be punished for the rest of your life for one mistake? I agree. I agree. But the fact that you say y'all was you was raised in a a Christian household, well, my thing is why okay, if that's the case, then why is a 16-year-old getting pregnant by her by an adult manager? Clearly, clearly, it maybe when it came to you getting an abortion, maybe y'all had Christian values, but the act that prevent that from happening by not being taught not to have sex, and if you're gonna have sex, don't have unprotected sex. Your mom, somebody dropped the ball. But who's to say that maybe her mom did tell her this? Maybe her mom did say, "Hey, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be different. I don't want you to have babies out of wedlock. I don't want you to have children when you're young because at that point you're gonna always find yourself in struggle mode. So you need to wait until you got yourself together." That's that's what the mother should have said. And maybe the mother did say that, but maybe this young lady back in those days was just hot in the ass and she wasn't listening. That happens too.
We got into an argument, yada yada. He told me to abort my child. I told him I didn't want the child. He paid for the abortion. I went shopping with the money. It was a mess. It was a whole mess.
So you go shopping with the abortion money.
That was number 3. I got pregnant by the same guy again. Yes. Foolish. I know. I got pregnant by that same guy again. Now I'm in grad school and I'm trying to get this second degree in. It's always funny to me how the people, who don't have the means, the money, the house, the car, the job, those are the women that get pregnant. And then the women that don't have or that do have, the means to provide and they have the degrees and whatever else, the money, and it's like they can't get pregnant.
That's a lie. I don't know where you getting your information from and your stats from. That is a lie. Typically, the women who have things, the women who are successful, it don't mean they weren't smashing. It won't mean they weren't getting their bikes blowed out. It just means that they was on birth control and they had a little bit of common sense as to how they was moving, and hopefully they wouldn't let every Pookie, Nook, Lil Charlie, Lil Dank, Brad, Chad, Tommy, Mike, Sam, all these other Dusties and Busters. Hopefully, you want to line all these men just to spray up your club, spray up your space unprotected. So that's what happened. Those women, it's not that they can't get pregnant. They perhaps. Now maybe there's there could be some women who they can't have, they for whatever the reason, it's difficult for them to have children. But I tell you what, by and large, now, what she talking about, the successful women, talking about the successful women can't have kids, and it's always the women who don't have anything. Now that's a lie. That's a lie if it one was ever been told. The women that ain't got no kids that are successful, that's because they made wise decisions.
It's just like you come from this nice family and your parents are engineers and they work at the university, and those like people that have that financial support and that family support, it's like those are the ones that just can't have the children, right? But if you're in a messed up situation, if you don't have a supportive family, your mom, your dad, your siblings, nobody, it's like,
my thing is, why is it that it's always the mama, the dad, the siblings? Why is it always other people's fault when y'all get knocked up? Why is it always other people's fault when y'all decide to put a trap baby on somebody. Because if you know that you can have children, and if a doctor haven't told you that you can't have children, you ain't got no business let nobody slide up in you and you ain't on something. You personally, my good lady, because the onus is on the women. It is. Like my mom used to always say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that mama she gonna be stuck with that baby. Daddy might be there, daddy may not be there. So my thing is, man, is nowhere in the world I can understand for the life of me how a woman is born in a situation where she see her mother basically got cat kids out of wedlock, or perhaps you could be a have an older sister raising a younger sister because the mama got locked up, and and you know the younger sister who raising the older sister who raising the older sister got a kid. You would think that the younger sister would take a page and say, man, you know what, I'm not I, all I I'm not gonna do anything to commit a self-inflicted wound where I'm gonna take L's for potentially for the rest of my life if I bring a child into this world and I'm not ready financially, mentally, spiritually. But women don't think like that because they get caught up in the moment, and for whatever the reason, it don't matter if the dude ain't got his life together. They gon' for whatever the reason. If I don't know, but I do know that if a woman want to get pregnant by a dude, if she want to put a trap baby on him, oh, she gonna do it. Don't matter if he got his life together or not. When they choose you and you are the one, listen, they'll come off birth control pills. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. They can be religiously taking their birth control pills, but when for whatever the reason, if a dude don't want to be in their life no more, or if the dude um, um, decide that they should part ways, and she wanna and for whatever the reason, women will stop taking their birth control pill and purposely get knocked up, and then they want to scream foul when the man like, hey, man, I ain't signed up for this.
Wow, how do you get pregnant, like. And so I think that it's just a crazy situation, and I just wanted to share my experience with you all, because after you go through so much trauma, I think that now, like, even at the age of 33 right now, like, the idea of me carrying a man's child, and the semen altering the DNA in my mind and literally just changing my chemical makeup inside of my body is really scary.
Okay, but ma'am, you wasn't saying that when you was letting all them dudes uh uh release their essence all inside you, and y'all weren't protected. You didn't say that then. So all of a sudden now you got a problem with carrying a man's child, and you bring up all these things where you could change hormonally and whatnot. Listen, listen. If you wasn't thinking about that then, it's hard to believe that you are sitting here and bringing this up now. Because I can only assume that you didn't stop having sex. So now at this point, at 33 years old, is it protected or not? If you having sex at your age now, what did you learn? Are you having protected sex or not at 33 after 4 abortions?
And to each his own. Whatever decisions you make, you have to deal with that, and you have to answer to God for that. And it's not nobody's place to burden you or make you feel bad. And so I just wanted to share my story with all of the women out there, and I hope that y'all share this and blast this, and don't eat me up too much in the comments, because I got time today.
Anyway, you know what? I don't, I think we can go ahead and stop the video there. So the fact is this. You're right. She should not have had to suffer for the rest of her life for one bad mistake. Okay, we understand. But when you start talking about pregnancy number 2, 3, 4. Come on now. At what point are you gonna say you just like you don't like you just like feel you like to feel that real meat? That's what it is. You just don't you ain't with a man wearing a condom. That's what it is. And I understand if that's what it is with you. I get it. But the fact is that at some point y'all got to start having some vagina control. If you know you like that real meat, then perhaps you ought to just stick with one. But see, y'all won't stick with one because y'all will find any reason why this one's not good enough. So I need to monkey branch and swing over to this one. But the fact of the matter is this: I hope that this young lady has learned something from this ordeal because having all those abortions is not healthy for her body. All that trauma and scar tissue that her vagina has had to endure after all those abortions, man, come on. What happens when she decide that she find her husband and that she wants to have a child, but all these abortions perhaps will make it difficult? We gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta stop putting all the blame on men, saying, "Oh well, my daddy wasn't around." Well, okay, did you stop to ask the question? Um, did your did your I mean, was your daddy reckless? Did your daddy talk to the mom and before they start decide to have sex? Was there a conversation? Was there ever a conversation about condoms or some type of birth control? Was there ever something? And if there was a conversation and perhaps the woman said, "Hey, I'm on birth control. I ain't trying to have no kids," but winds up pregnant. Well, how do you think a man's going to feel knowing that his life is finna ever be changed when, if given the opportunity, he would have just wore a condom? Well, family, always remember, be more tomorrow than you were yesterday. Peace.